bringing you the latest news from Lubbock High Athletics. This is the Westerner Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on the first Monday of March. It is March 3rd, and if my daughter is listening, which she never pays any attention to what I do because she has no interest in sports, I will tell Darby Rosetta happy birthday. Happy 17th birthday. And a man who I put in charge of watching over her when she got to Lubbock High, Victor Gomez, is with me. I told her, I introduced her to you that night, and yes. I said, look, if any boy gives you any trouble, tell him you know Coach Gomez and tell him to look at him mean.
Come and see me.
There we go. She knows Coach Rod. She knows Coach Webster, or not Coach Leesman. She knows Coach Palmer. And those are all great guys, but if your daughter goes to Lubbock High, this guy to my left here, he will take care of you.
Hey, I'm about to have a daughter at Lubbock High next year.
That's what I understand. So there you go. Will you be in charge of that, or are you going to have to put somebody else in charge of it?
It's hard to put somebody else in charge of it.
Yes, it is. Victor Gomez also has a baseball team that had a really good weekend. I'm going to hesitate on saying you guys are really good because I'm going to get you to talk about what you think you guys are right now. But you went to San Antonio. So first weekend of the season, you went to a tournament. Things didn't go as well.
Yes.
This weekend, you go to San Antonio, 5-0.
5-0, yes.
And a pretty impressive 5-0.
The trip to El Paso, I was looking over and I was talking with the kids. I think we played a total of 32 innings. I think we had 6 bad innings. 6 bad innings, and it cost us games. We had 2 games with no earned runs. So we were right there, and we just couldn't get the hits when we needed them. We couldn't get the 2-out plays when we needed them. So, we went into practice that week, and we said we got to work. Obviously, whatever we're doing, we're close, but we're not where we need to be. So I felt like we had a sluggish Monday. Tuesday we came out and we inter-squadded, and we got after each other, And then Wednesday we had a practice before it's time to go, and I think we had a different mindset getting on the road. Took a couple different players with us. We took a couple freshmen with us to see where they were at, and went down there and we went down there to win. That was the goal, and I told them before we left, I told each one of my teams, let's see who's going to go undefeated this week. The JV Gold, JV Black, varsity, the goal was for one of us to be undefeated this week. JV Gold went 3-1, JV Black went 2-2, and we ended up going 5-0. So it was a good thing. A lot of excitement, a lot of smiling, a lot of team chemistry. Good trip as far as just bonding as a team and cheering for your teammates, even when we had a couple mistakes and the negativity didn't come out. It was just, hey, come on, let's go next play, and it was a good thing.
I played baseball a long time ago, much different world. Baseball is not necessarily a sport like the others where you sit and break down video and show guys this, but what you said about 6 bad innings, you can explain to them, look, if you would have done this instead of that kind of registers with them. And it sounds like your guys did that they absorbed that and took it to the diamond.
Yes, and that's kind of what I said, guys, we're there, but we can't give away runs that they're not earning. I'd rather see them hit 15 doubles, triples, everything than just giving runs away. Make them earn it. And then we had times that, we had a leadoff double in El Paso, and then we have a bad base running mistake. They hit the ball shortstop and we run. Instead of the ball being behind us, little right. Things like that. So we work base running. We got picked off on second. Another one, the inside move, and it wasn't nothing, but we're just so aggressive when we shouldn't be, and we get picked off, takes us right out of innings. We had bases loaded on the team, bases loaded, no outs, and we into a double play. It's just one of those things, like we don't get a bunt down, so now we swing, and we get just little things like that. And I can tell you, when we played one game, El Paso Americas, they beat us. That's probably the hardest we hit the ball, but we hit it right to them, and they made every single play they needed to make. They had a real good defense. They just had a good team, and they made every play, but I felt like we barreled the ball there good. So we worked on picks, we did everything I felt like we needed to get improved on, and it showed when we went to San Antonio. We went out there and we competed, and we were more of a team the whole time.
Remind me what position you played when you were a player.
I played shortstop.
So you were shortstop. Okay. So I've always thought that catchers, shortstops, and third basemen see the game a little bit differently when they become coaches because you've observed the game a certain way. My friend Ben McDonald, I didn't know this until years later, apparently Cal Ripken used to call pitches when he was a shortstop for the Orioles because they trusted him to see the game as well as anybody else. That makes a lot of sense when I hear you talk about the little things that your guys needed to do and then started to do. That's why catchers and shortstops and third basemen make really good managers. So we're going to talk more to Victor, but I want to get him to talk about some of the guys who emerged last weekend, but also want to talk about what's coming up for them. We talked to Brad Bibb earlier. The First Bank Classic is in town this week, all over town. Lubbock High will have 5 games, just like everybody else. We're going to run through their schedule. But I also want him to mention some guys that came through this week. We'll be back on the high school fan zone right after this break on 100.7 The Score. I am Randy Rosetta.
Diving headfirst into Lubbock High athletics. You're listening to the Westerner Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back to the Westerner Fan Zone, and I know this is 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. I'm with Victor Gomez, the third-year Lubbock High baseball coach.
Yes, sir. Third year.
Goes fast. The Westerners are in action at the First Bank Classic this week. Thursday at Leslie Field. You call it Leslie Field or Westerner Field?
I call it Westerner Field.
I'm so used to calling it Westerner Field.
EC Leslie.
My older daughter, who's 25, went to Westerner Field with me a long time ago when Jimmy Webster was still coaching. I'd carry her in, and we'd sit out in the sun. So, but Westerner Field, Leslie Field, they play 2 games on Thursday: Shallow Water, El Paso, El Dorado. Friday, 2 more games at home: El Paso High and Liberty. First time playing Liberty. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday, they don't play at home. They go across town to Estacado, where Victor spent a few years as a coach and as a student. I know that's going to be a little bit emotional for you.
It's a little different going over there.
That's the first time you've played them since you've been at Lubbock High.
Yes, sir.
A lot of friends on the other side and coaches, a lot of kids that you had an impact on, a lot of kids whose big brothers you had an impact on. So that's going to be kind of an emotional and fun one. But the good news is, as Brad Bibb said, these games are all for fun until you get into district next week. So it's a fun week for Lubbock High, fun week for Lubbock High School baseball fans. I mentioned I wanted you to kind of touch on some of your guys. Who are some guys that jumped off the page a little bit when you were on that bus ride home? I just made that drive home, so I know it's a long bus ride.
Yes.
But as you were coming home, who are some guys that you knocked around in your head and you thought, man, that guy really made an impact?
You know, my pitching did great. We had 2 no-hitters. Joseph Rosendo threw a no-hitter against San Antonio Roosevelt. Josiah Ordonez and Hudson Reed combined for a no-hitter against San Antonio Heights, I think. And just to start the tournament off, we had Ivan Rodriguez came out, and he gave us everything he had on the mound. He pitched a complete 7 innings. I think we won 3-1. So right off, he set the tone of what we needed on the mound. We had some big hits. Joseph had some big hits. Nano's been hitting the ball hard right at people. Boy, finally started finding holes, and he smoked a few through there. Brought a couple freshmen with me, Drake Molinar and Jeff Barrera, and they had big hits. I think Jeff had 2 hits in the game and had 3 RBIs. Drake in our last game, we're down. He had a couple big hits, RBIs, and then he stayed hitting the ball. So another play he hit hard, and they made an error on it. But those guys showed up. They played good defense. Our defense was we had a couple mistakes here and there, but as a whole, we played a lot better defense. Then Saturday to finish it, Ivan McGuire was on the mound. Got on the mound, and man, he was lights out. And they scored 3 runs. Well, we had 2 outs, and we misplayed, or we had a bad throw. So they had a guy on. They ended up getting 2 on, and first pitch guy hit a curveball over the fence. I mean, he has some big kids. They hit the ball well. So and Ivan's demeanor on the mound was like, "Hey, it's all right. Pick your heads up." So that was big, seeing him say it to the team, to the kid who made the error. Hey, don't worry about it. Next play, I'm going to need you to make a play here in a minute. And you know what? It showed. So that next inning, we came in and we took the lead right back. And it was very positive, and it was good to see someone else doing it. Like I tell the guys, when the players lead the team, we're going to be a lot better. It shouldn't always be me doing it.
Yep.
I shouldn't always be the bad guy and correcting you on something. When these guys start doing it, then we're going to be all right. And, he encouraged his teammates, and they stayed with it. And man, we came back, and that was an exciting game for those guys.
I've always, this dude to my left's a great coach. You can coach guys up. I said this to somebody else, Mike Gustafson, a minute ago. We were talking about a different baseball team in Lubbock right now. The Jimmies and the Joes that's where the game's going to be won and lost. And when Father Time starts having an effect on those Jimmies and Joes and they get older and more mature, and Ivan, because a couple years ago, I don't know that Ivan, I watched him as a young guy. He may have melted down out there.
Yes.
But the fact that you just said that he handled it well, that's you can't speed up Father Time. And the other part of that is I liked what you said about the freshmen, because freshmen sometimes in baseball, you don't have to be mammoth. You don't have to be big, and you can go out there and play at a young age, but you need something good to happen early to realize that you belong. So it sounds like you guys got that.
Yes, and that's right. Baseball very rarely discriminates against size, speed. If you can play baseball, you can play baseball.
Yep. And Westerners have always had guys, going back to the Jimmy Webster days, they've always had guys that knew how to play the game, and Victor's a guy who can get them going. He got them going last week, won 5 games. They come back with 5 games this week at the First Bank Classic. I'm excited to see these guys play. We're heading into the break. We'll come back after the break on 100.7 The Score with one of the legends of Lubbock. I'm Randy Rosetta.